formats like eBay. Hello, I'm Chris Osmond, and this is Solutions. Enough complaining, let's fix America. Today is Monday, May 11th, 2020, and yet we face yet another day in which our government is failing to help the citizens of this nation during such a crisis. Today's first issue will be in a recurring segment that I'm calling People, This is Stupid. And it deals with how much money the Federal Reserve is adding into circulation in our economy. They're doing this, and they've said that they will add uh, quantitative easing into infinity to stabilize our economy. But what it does is it stabilizes the wealth of the wealthy, of the rich. It basically waters down and devalues every dollar that's in everybody's pocket, including the rich. The difference is that the rich have billions of dollars. So if their money is devalued, then it doesn't really have an impact on them because they have more money than they could ever spend in a lifetime or in a few generations that were to come after them. So they have enough money to survive. The problem is that the rest of us do not have all that money. So every time they add $1 trillion into the economy, that devalues every dollar in your pocket by a substantial amount. So I think people need to wake up to the fact that the Federal Reserve is not a federal agency. It's just called the Federal Reserve, but it's actually a series of privately owned banks that print money, and it prints money with debt as soon as that money is printed. 40% or 40 cents of every dollar is actually debt that the federal government owes to the Federal Reserve as soon as it's created. Now, to continue to service the interest on that debt, the Federal Reserve continues to print more and more money, which increases the debt. So it's a never ending cycle of debt that our country is going into by allowing these privately owned banks to print more money and add it to the system. This needs to stop, and it will devalue the US dollar to the point where it falls apart just like every other fiat currency in history has fallen apart. There is no guarantee that any fiat currency will last forever because there is nothing backing any fiat currency. There are fiat currencies all around the world. The US dollar just happens to be the currency of reserve. But once we lose that status as the world's reserve currency, America will be dramatically weakened economically, and our standard of living will suffer because of that. So I think people need to realize that the Federal Reserve is not doing anybody any favors by printing trillions of dollars, especially when our government is not taking the majority of that money and helping the people out with that money. They're helping out corporations, they're helping out banks, they're helping out the very rich to buy out and to steal from underneath people's feet, to steal their businesses, because there's going to be a lot of medium-sized businesses that are going to go bankrupt. And then you'll get the vulture capitalists that come in there and they buy up those businesses for pennies on the dollar. And then all of a sudden, you have more of a feudalistic looking system, economic system, because you have very few people owning the majority of the wealth in this country.